Hello, football fans, and welcome back to View from the Sideline podcast. Coming up this week, we take a look back at the action from the first weekend of the Premier League season, with City and Liverpool picking up where they left off, the introduction of VAR causing lots of talking points, which it was meant to remove, and we take a look at how the major summer signings performed. Pete is back testing our knowledge with his teaser, Chris has a new feature with his stat of the weekend, and the EFL review and the predictions challenge are back for another season. Football is back, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to View from the Sideline podcast. We're back for our second season, and this is episode number 1. We've managed to keep hold of our free agent. He was out of contract, but we've given him a little pay rise, and he's back with us. Chris, how you doing?
I'm all right, Rich. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, glad you signed back up. I was a bit worried. I was worried you were going to go on a free transfer to a rival podcast, but we managed to get you to stay.
Yeah, I'm here, and a lot to talk about today.
Yeah. So we've just had the first weekend of the new Premier League season. So we will be taking a look at the major talking points really from the weekend's game. So we will be touching on all 10 of the matches. But first of all, we are going to go straight into Pete's teaser. So again, we've managed to retain Pete for another season.
He's not on more money than me, is he? His contract isn't better than mine is.
There's a sort of employee confidentiality. I cannot confirm or deny that, I'm afraid. So yeah, bit of a new twist on it this year. So we've actually got audio from Pete. So rather than he has, you can put a voice to the name. So rather than us reading the question out, Pete's actually sent it in. So here is this week's teaser.
Okay, Rich, this week's question. Which country from outside the UK has provided the Premier League with most players?
Okay, I didn't expect it to be that tricky. I was kind of hoping that he would ease us in a bit gently this year, but
really, considering how many countries, many countries there are outside the UK, but I think we can probably whittle it down to a few. But let's wait and see.
Well, yeah, we can whittle it down, but whether we'll get it right, anyway, we'll see. So we'll be having a go at the teaser at the end of today's episode, and if in doubt, we'll have to bring the search engine out and admit defeat. So we'll go into the Premier League review. So we'll start at the London Stadium. West Ham against last year's champions Manchester City. So I guess there's the football bit with how good City were, and then there's the VAR bit. So Chris, what do you think? So VAR.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it in this game in particular?
Well, it served its necessary purpose, I would say. Obviously, there was two big decisions in VAR. The first one, obviously, the disallowed goal, and then obviously the penalty having to be retaken for encroaching. But how many times does encroaching happen when a player is taking a penalty? It happens all the time. It just seems like this could be a weekly occurrence where a team take a penalty and then have to retake it because someone has run into the box.
But do you not feel that because it happened on the first weekend of the season, it might actually stop it? Because I'll be honest with you. When I was watching Match of the Day, I thought it had been the decision had been made to retake it because Fabianski was off his line. So that's why I thought it had been ordered to be retaken. So it wasn't sort of until later on that I actually realised it was because of the encroachment.
Yeah.
But it's because Declan Rice was the one in the area. But I think there was 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one.
But it's because he then touched the ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why it was ordered to be retaken. And I think there's been a lot of noise from the fans that, not just on this one, but I think the Sterling offside one was the only one that was shown on the big screen in the actual stadium. I think the others,
Right.
they weren't totally sure, but
No, but you can't really go against technology. This is the thing. You can't argue that the decision's wrong because it's not wrong. That's what it's there for. It's to catch these things and stop them from happening. But away from VAR, Man City just really picking up. They didn't waste any time picking up where they left off last season. And Raheem Sterling, it just seems to be getting better and better each. I know we've only seen one game this season, but score a hat trick, that's nothing to feel bad about. But I
think with Sterling, there was probably about 18 months, 2 years ago, when he was missing sitters pretty much every week, wasn't he? And if you look at what he's like now, I mean, I think even after one game, I think he's favourite for the Golden Boot already. I just think he's going to score a bagful this season.
I think since Guardiola's gone there, he's definitely suited the style of play that Guardiola plays a lot better than obviously what Pellegrini was before him. But you can't really argue with 5 now.
Well, I mean, I thought that from a new signing perspective, I thought Rodri was brilliant. I think he's ready-made for when Fernandinho sort of. I'm not sure if it's a contract thing, but I've read that he's leaving at the end of the season. I don't know if that's definite, but he is ready-made for him. And I thought Kyle Walker had a brilliant game, and I know that they've signed a new right back, so there's probably a bit more pressure on him. But his pace for the first goal was just unreal. He just left the defender for dead.
Yeah, I think it's good though for him to have a bit of competition. Cancelo is probably one of the best right backs in the world, so
they look good. They look very good, and it's difficult to disagree with what Pep said around when it's sort of City, Liverpool, and Spurs and Man City B, I think he said, for the title. But if you look at their second 11, I mean, I think it'd have a pretty decent shot for winning the title. It's such a good side. Whether their focus will be on a Champions League or not this year, but
I still think it will. I think they've
got. We'll come on to Liverpool, but I'm picking City for the title again.
Yeah,
and that was before that game.
Yeah.
So off to Anfield. So the Friday night game. So the first game of the season. I guess the major talking point would be the injury to Alisson. I think he's out for 4 to 8 weeks, which is a huge blow for Liverpool.
Yeah. So he came off, and luckily they literally just signed a new keeper, didn't they, Adrian? So I don't think he would have expected to be playing this soon. But Liverpool first half were just, they were phenomenal. But I have to say that the new rule where your keeper can pass inside the box, it just wasn't working for Norwich. Every time they did it, they just didn't. Liverpool were just pressing them so high up. Norwich just couldn't get it out, and they were just pumping long balls and losing the ball first half. It's just, they were terrible.
Well,
really bad.
Just on that, Chris, so when I was at Tottenham last week into Milan, I didn't realise that rule would come in.
Yeah.
And in the first half, the two Spurs centre-backs were on the corner of the 6-yard box. And I was thinking, what are they doing? I don't understand what they're doing. And then sort of Spurs persisted with this short goal kick. But then it's almost like like in a training drill when they're doing the passing inside the little squares with the cones. It's so risky.
It is.
I'm just boot it up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like it was weird. It was very weird seeing it. And like I said, I didn't realise it was illegal.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't like to see it at Chelsea. Dodgy as they are at the moment, but Norwich just looks so vulnerable doing it. And they haven't really spent anything in the transfer window either. So they've stuck pretty much the same side. They got the striker they've got. Obviously, the guy that did score the goal, he does look good. And to be fair, second half Norwich actually were a lot better and don't So I think Liverpool. But I couldn't figure out if Norwich were better or Liverpool just stepped off the gas and weren't really trying as
Yeah,
hard.
well, I mean, so for me, we'll sort of, obviously we're going to cover every game, but I'll obviously include Norwich because they got promoted. But I think all three of the promoted sides, and fair play to them, they've gone into the first weekend of the Premier League season playing the same brand of football that they did in the Championship and the same brand of football that's got them promoted.
Yeah.
Now, I think that, to me, the first half, although Liverpool they were 4-0 up at half time, weren't they? But the first 15, 20 minutes, it actually showed, in my opinion, how fragile that Liverpool's defence can be.
Yeah.
There's not many teams, and even if you think over the last sort of 2 seasons, teams like United, teams like Chelsea, they've gone to Anfield and they've almost parked the bus, or they've gone with a defensive mindset. Norwich did not do that at all, and they went out all guns blazing, and they could have had 2 or 3 in the first half. I mean, maybe a bit more of the ball rolling a bit better for them, or a bit better finishing, or the sort of a move falling down in the final third. I actually thought that Norwich had a decent first half. Second half, the game was pretty much over. I do think Liverpool took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
But it is. I think they do look vulnerable at the back a little bit. I think Robertson and Alexander-Arnold are so good going forward, but I'm not convinced defensively. And I think that, just on the title, just quickly, because we've obviously covered City, but the reason I think City will win the season is the league this season is because Liverpool played out of their skins last year, and I almost think that was their maximum. And I'm not sure they can match it again. And it's not just purely on one game. You can't really judge much on one game, but I think if you go to Anfield this year and you get at Liverpool, if you attack them, I think there is a bit of vulnerability there.
I'd say, obviously they got Van Dijk, but they don't have that second centre back. I think that's good enough. I know they play Gomez, but I didn't think he was. He's still young. Still got a bit of learning to do. I've heard that Lovren's probably leaving.
Yeah, I've heard it. Is it Roma? Roma he might be going to.
There's a few clubs, I think.
But Gomez was the sort of the starting centre back the beginning of last season till he got injured. I think he played up until about December.
Yeah.
But
I was surprised Matip didn't play, but he played quite well in the Community Shield when he came on. But yeah,
but it's good to see Norwich in the Premier League. If they keep playing that way, I think I personally think they'll stay up, but we'll have to wait and see. So Spurs Villa. It was a bit squeaky bum for a while. But same with Norwich. I thought Villa played really well. I thought they sort of went out with an attacking mindset. I don't think the fact that they were going to Spurs on the first day, their first sort of game back in the Premier League, I don't think it sort of affected them. I think Eriksen changed the game. I mean, there's a lot of talk with Eriksen at the moment. Personally, as a Spurs fan,
I think he'll go.
Well, the success of Spurs' summer spending or summer transfer activity depends on Eriksen, in my opinion. I think he will stay, but I think he will stay because at the end of the season, when he's on a free, he's going to be quids in.
Yeah.
There's going to be a host of top European clubs lining up if he's on a free, and same with like Aaron Ramsey. He will make that up in wages, and he he will get an offer that Spurs just cannot match. I'd be really surprised if Spurs managed to tie him down again. But he changed the game, and I think that if he stays, if the European window shuts and he's still at Spurs, I think it actually gives us a pretty good shot at winning a trophy this year. If he goes, I think I almost feel like it puts us a step back. I mean, Lo Celso, I haven't seen an awful lot of him. He's been with current Spurs players. He's almost compared to Lamela, so not necessarily an Eriksen type player. But we'll have to see. For me, the best signing, and when last week when I was there for the Inter Milan game, Ndombele, he was amazing. He was immense. He is without doubt, in my opinion, the best signing we've made this summer. He's an animal. He is almost like really complements Sissoko. He reminds me a bit. When I saw him, he reminds me a bit of Wilson Palacios, the way he moves around the pitch, but he's just better. He's just a better player. He's got a bit of everything.
Yeah, he looks like a quality sign. His goal was good as well. I would say up until Eriksen came on, he did, Tottenham did struggle to create in the final third, I thought. And I thought when he came on, like you said, I thought he did change the game. I think letting him go, I think would be the wrong thing to do. But like you said, I think if you can get another season out of him, I think you'd be pretty happy with that. Depending if you want money for him, you might have to sell him in January. But I think he's key that he stays there, because I did think you struggled. But I thought Villa defended quite well up until you started scoring quite a few goals. But yeah, Villa did well. Last 15 minutes, Tottenham, were really, really good. But yeah, Ndombele, he looks like a quality signing.
It'd be interesting to see what he does with Eriksen on Saturday away at Man City, whether he starts him or whether he's on the bench again.
I think he'll start.
But I mean, you've got Lo Celso, you've got Sessegnon, you've got Dele Alli, Son suspended, but Vertonghen, I've read today that he was left out because of fitness concerns, not injury. They just weren't happy with his fitness levels, apparently. So read into that what you will, but that I don't think that's by any stretch our best starting 11.
No.
Just quickly, I'm glad Danny Rose stayed. I mean, I did hear on deadline day that he was at Watford's training ground,
didn't he?
which would have been a strange move for me. But I really like Danny Rose, and I'm not sure whether Sessegnon's one for the future or he's going to play him a bit more advanced down the left-hand side. But I'm glad Danny Rose stayed. So, yeah, good win for Spurs. City up next. I mean, that's your test, isn't it? We'll see how far we've come second game in. But we can't avoid it, Chris. Old
Newcastle
Trafford. Man United, Chelsea.
Didn't see it, mate.
Look, I mean, you're better placed to give an opinion on this than I am. But my question would be, so 2 points. When I looked at the starting lineups, maybe even for both sides, but maybe more Chelsea, I thought that's the weakest Chelsea side I've seen in a long time. And secondly, and I know you've blamed FIFA for the defeat. You've blamed, this is all off air. You've blamed FIFA. You've blamed the FA. You've blamed a lot of people. Where's your goals coming from? Where are Chelsea's goals going to come from?
Tammy Abraham.
He's nothing again. He's not going to get you 10, 15 goals this season.
You don't know that until look. Right, here we go. So yes, the team was.
I'm putting you on a timer, Chris.
The obviously, when you looked at the team sheet, yes, it is, not the strongest side you're going to get. But, we have got players still to come back. Obviously, Kante did come on. Rudiger's coming back. Williams almost coming back. So we've got players there. You've got Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek probably be coming back in November, December time. So,
these aren't goal scorers though.
Yeah, but they're going to be 5 key players for us this season.
Mm-hmm.
They might. We are going to need them. And I thought to be fair, I didn't think personally I thought 4-0 was quite flattering for United, to be honest with you, because the first 57, 58 minutes of the game, we were probably the better side. We hit the post twice in the first half.
What about Zuma though? I mean, that's a poor challenge for me. That's sort of almost a schoolboy error. But to your point, when you're on top, you're on top of the match.
Yeah.
You're having the possession. You're having the play. I think by that point you'd hit the post once or twice, or at least once.
Yeah.
And then he gives away a penalty. No need for VAR there, in my opinion.
No, it was a foul. It was silly,
And then they hit you on the break. I mean, on Sky after Souness was quite. Well, I thought he was relatively scathing about Aspilicueta, about his defending. I think he blamed him for the second and third and fourth goals.
It was 4 mistakes that cost us. They were all mistakes.
You can't afford to do that when there's no goals.
Yeah, I understand that, but I wouldn't say Man United played that great. I wouldn't say that the build-up to their goals were great. I'd say it was more mistakes on our half and anything. That it was their counter-attacking that they just couldn't deal with. It goes 2-0. There's a slight glimmer of hope that you can get back into it, but then straight away they get the third and game over. Really, then.
But yeah, well, I mean, just on the counter-attacking bit, I guess this is two things. I thought Harry Maguire played pretty good, to be honest. I thought he complements Lindelof pretty well, and Wan-Bissaka, I think he could be the sign of the summer. Luke Shaw, jury's probably still out, but Pogba, Pogba's the pivot for me when United are on the counter. When you've got the pace of Martial and Rashford up front, and then the new signing, is it David James, the guy from Swansea whose name
James?
Yeah, he's rapid as well, but Pogba's got that range of pass where they can turn defense into attack really quickly. And that's going to be their biggest weapon this year.
Yeah, I'd say
if he stays, if he goes, United's midfield is
worse than Chelsea.
Average. Well, it's average. If he goes, it's average at best. United's midfield.
I think United needed to buy another striker as well.
They scored 4 past you, Chris. That's a bold statement.
Saying that, but they're not going to be able to rely on Rashford. If he gets injured, what are they going to do then?
Well, I think that's the case with a lot of teams. If Liverpool lost Salah, Mane, or Firmino for a period of time, they're going to struggle. If Spurs lose Kane, if City lose anyone, they're fine. But we'll move on before you start blaming me for Chelsea's defeat. I think I'm the only one on the list you haven't yet blamed.
I blame myself because I missed the first 50 minutes of the match, and as soon as I turned it on, within 5 minutes we were 3-0 down.
Wow.
I shouldn't bother.
I can imagine Lampard on the sideline telling the players that you've tuned in, and then they just switched off. So. St James's Park, Newcastle, Arsenal. No new signings started the game for Arsenal, but they did have some young players in from the start, which I think shows a good move from Emery, really. Obviously, Aubameyang with the goal, great goal, well taken goal. Yeah. He's got 33 goals in 50 Premier League appearances, which is
why he's in my dream team.
But that's really good. That is really good. Newcastle, couple new signings. I
thought they played quite well, Newcastle.
I did. I was surprised.
We had our first obvious dive of the season as well by Almiron.
Yeah. Oh, that was a beaut. That was a beaut, wasn't it? But I was surprised by Newcastle, but in a positive way, because I know you and I had a conversation a week or so ago, and I was umming and ahhing about Newcastle for the drop, and um, I slowly came away from that idea. Andy Carroll, I think that could end up being a half decent move, but David Luiz, that was a bit left field. David
Came
Luiz,
from nowhere, really, didn't it?
yeah, which makes me think he was a driving force behind it. I'm not sure whether Lampard had said,
Believe so.
"You're not in my plans."
Mm.
But I mean, 8 million for him. I mean, he's got a mistake in him, but when he's good, he's pretty good. I'm not sure he's the out and out sort of John Terry sort of throw your body on the line defender that maybe Arsenal need, but he's going to give them something.
Oh yeah, but if I'm honest, out of the other three defenders that we got, if you line them up, I probably would have said out of the four of them, I'd rather David Luiz goes than any of the others. So
yeah, and Pepe looks good. Pepe looks good for Arsenal. Yeah. He's going to be a decent. And Tierney at left back. I know he had a bit of a sort of stop-start season last year with injuries, but he's going to be a decent player. And I know we published our predictions for top four, and the fact that United sort of won 4-0 maybe reassured me a bit. But I think Arsenal have got a decent shot at top four. I think they've probably had the best transfer, considering they had no money.
Yeah,
they've bought a lot of quality players in.
I'd still say the defence probably. I know they bought David Luiz in, but I don't think that really helps them.
Well, no, he's not going to sort of make them into like a fortress at the back, but they look good going forward, Arsenal. But yeah, 1-0, Aubameyang. I'm sure that's not the last time we'll be talking about him scoring. But I think Newcastle will be safe. But I fancy Arsenal for to have a shot at the top four. So Leicester, Wolves, King Power Stadium.
VAR.
Yeah.
Ruined his goal celebration that night, apparently.
This is the one for me.
And
I'd like to get your opinion on it. So the West Ham Man City, you can understand them.
Yeah.
The right decisions are made. I do not get this handball. I don't get. So I get the rule. So this isn't a VAR problem in my opinion. It's a problem with the rule. So it's not VAR. All VAR is doing is confirming that the ball touched the hand. The law that if the ball touches the hand, it's a handball. That's not the VAR problem. But if I was a Wolves fan, and I know Connor Cody was pretty passionate in the interview after the match, I'd be fuming. In my opinion, and it's almost like Sissoko in the Champions League final. There is a lot of bias here being a Spurs fan. That's not a handball for me. What do you think?
I think that the problem is because the referee didn't see it. So last season they would have got the goal, but because there is this backup with VAR now,
that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to change. It's going to change things like this, and where people have necessarily. The thing is, I guess the rule is if it touches your hand, it's handball, isn't it? There's no. I know he's only literally like a couple of centimeters away from him. There's not really a lot you can do about it, but you know, it's hard. It's hard. There's not.
So just to sort of merge two games into one. So Watford Brighton. So Brighton are 1-0 up. Watford have a free kick on the edge of the area. Glenn Murray jumps as part of the wall and it hits his hand or hits his arm. But because his arms aren't in an unnatural position, that's not handball. I don't understand the difference. So when the Wolves players jumped, if I remember rightly, it's hit his hand, hit his head, and then fall to the floor, and then the players put it in. But surely that's no worse than being in a defensive wall. And yeah, admittedly, Glenn Murray's hands aren't above his head, but they're still sort of chest height.
I just
So
felt sorry.
I don't know what the difference is.
I
This
felt
is the
sorry
only
for
thing
him.
that, and I'm not blaming VAR. I actually think overall VAR was pretty successful. It's just the rule on that. But
The Wolves manager came out and he did say that a player's not supposed to celebrate goals anymore until it's been confirmed, and then that kind of takes the spirit of the goal celebration out of
that's what they said at
game.
Man City. But I think what he also said was that you've got one set of fans cheering because they think they've scored. Then you've got the other set of fans cheering when the goal is disallowed. And I think that's what he was saying that's not the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But you're not going to remove that from football. But
nope.
Two evenly matched sides. Just last on that, I really like the look of Leicester's front four. So Tielemans, Perez, Vardy, and Maddison. Although none of them, ironically, had the best game against Wolves, but I really like those front four, and I think they're going to be decent this year under Rodgers. Wolves, it's the Europa League thing that I do worry about a little bit for them. I wonder if they're going to struggle a bit more this season.
Yeah, Burnley.
Yeah, could do. So Watford v Brighton. Just quick, surprise result for me, but fair play to Brighton. They look good. The new signings look good.
Mr. Potter had a great start.
He did. Watford.
I like that guy that they've signed, Brighton, the striker, Mapao
from Brentford.
Yeah,
he got
good.
like 25 last season. 25 goals, I think. He's in the Championship's really good.
Good finisher, he is. I think he'll actually do quite well for them this season.
We've both picked them for relegation, but we'll see. Watford a little bit. I'm not sure this season. They haven't had a great transfer window, but
they were poor at the back, really, weren't they?
Yeah. Speaking of poor at the back, Southampton, Burnley, or Burnley, Southampton. I should say, very un-Burnley-like result, but they don't have. On the flip side with Wolves, they don't have the Europa League distractions. I worry about Saints.
The thing with Southampton was it's that game against Burnley at the weekend is exactly how they played at the start of last season. It's almost like that they've hit like a reset button on their defending, because when Matey I can't say Hudson how whatever his name is, when he came in
Ralph
Hussenhartel, when he came in January,
we just call him Ralph.
Ralph. He kind of shored their defense up, and it's like they've gone back to how they defended when Mark Hughes was there. There's no glossing over it. They were terrible. And the thing is, Burnley and Southampton, I think we've probably both agreed before the game that we probably think that they'd struggle this season. But now you're obviously looking at how Saints played, and it's those sorts of games against Burnley that they should really be trying to get something out of. But saying that, Burnley, I thought they absolutely dominated the game, and I don't even think Burnley were at were in fifth gear. I'd say they were in third or fourth gear. So
I think Burnley will be right. Saints look light up front for me. I know they've signed Che Adams from Birmingham. I want to say.
Yeah. He hasn't scored as many as Mapao from.
Well, no, I'm not sure whether he's going to sort of light the Premier League up. And I think they are a bit suspect defensively. They've got Redmond, Bertrand. I like the keeper Gunn, and Ward-Prowse. He's a quality player, but
surprised he hasn't left yet.
He didn't seem to do anything in that game, and I think there's, I don't know. For me, there's what I probably think will be the bottom three, and then there's probably 3 or 4 teams that I could just take one out of my selection and put another one in. So I think it'd be interesting to see how they go. Burnley will be okay, I think, but I'm not sure about Saints. Speaking of teams we've put in relegation, so there's two here for me: Bournemouth, Sheffield United.
Good
Um,
point for Sheffield United, and
it was,
yeah,
They
great moment for Billy Sharp, really, because he's been at Sheffield United for a while now, hasn't he? So obviously for him
I
scoring
think
in
that's
the Prem.
he's the highest scoring footballer in English football in the last decade or something now.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. Yeah, I mean, I've picked Bournemouth to go down. I know it's a bit of an out there prediction, but I'm not convinced. I think the players that make them tick are probably a bit inconsistent. I know Callum Wilson signed a new deal, and I know it's the first game of the season, but I was pretty confident Bournemouth should win that, and that's nothing against Sheffield United, because I mean,
No,
like we've said with Villa and Norwich, they came out all guns blazing. Their fullbacks are pretty high up the pitch. That just sort of tells you the sort of game that they're playing. But point's a point. It's good to get a point on the board first game of the season. Last and probably least, I'm not sure if you would class this as an exciting 0-0.
well, I'd say the
Especially-
only real thing is Schneider getting sent off. That kind of livened it up slightly, but other than that,
And that wasn't
just
even a straight red. It was for two. It was for two
No,
yellows.
the only thing I'd say on this is the whole Zaha thingy. You know, obviously he came out saying that he wanted to leave in the summer. Palace have clearly said no, he's not leaving. He's going to stay. So he's.
Do you
obviously
think
gonna
he
be there
might go
now.
abroad by the end of the month, or do you think that's a no-no?
No, I don't think.
I think that's it.
No, I think, and to be fair, it's probably the best bit of business that Palace have did all summer. Keeping, I think it was key that they kept. I don't know, you know, he's a good player, but from what I heard from Roy Hodgson over the summer, it wasn't really his decision for Zaha to stay or go. It was further up. People wanted him. To stay,
I think
but
when you're talking about your marquee player, I think that's always going to be the case. I think that they are a completely different side without Zaha. I don't think there's any doubt about that. If he had gone, let's just say he'd gone deadline day and they hadn't had time to bring anybody else in, I think they'd be in big trouble,
struggle.
Palace.
Yeah.
I think they'll get. It wouldn't surprise me if there's been sort of a gentleman's agreement behind the scenes that he'll give them one more season and then he'll go with their blessing. Because I don't think. Well, he's not out of contract, so it's not as if they're going to lose him for nothing.
I just think the price tag was quite steep, but it won't put people off buying him.
No, I don't think it will. Not for what it gives you.
Sign him, weren't they? So
that was strange for me.
Yeah,
I would have been surprised if he'd gone to Everton.
Yeah, I personally don't think he would have gone to Everton. I think he wants your top 6 club, if not in this country, in another. You know,
but that may be Everton. They've spent these two are polar opposites. Everton have spent a lot of money. I really like Moussa Keane from Juventus. I think 35 million, considering they paid like touching 40 for Iwobi from Arsenal. Keane for 35. He's a quality signing.
Any Football Manager fans out there will know how good Keane is on the game. So.
I mean, he went through a stage where like he was scoring every game for Juventus and for Italy, so he's a really good signing. So that's the Premier League done. So one game down. Chelsea are second to bottom, and long may it continue. Hey, Chris, and usual suspects at the top. So. Yeah, that's it for the Premier League review. So coming up, we've got the EFL review coming up in part 2. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of View from the Sideline podcast. Coming up in this section, we've got the EFL review. So that's Championship, League 1 and League 2. Because of our now mutual love for Yeovil, I would say, Chris, after I think you've converted me, we have got a Yeovil Watch. So we we'll let you know how they've been faring in the National League. They are actually playing tonight. I think it may just have finished, but Chris will give us an update on Yeovil. We've got just a brief summary of the predictions challenge, because that's back this year. So we're 1 week down. So we've had the results in for that. Then we've got our brand new feature, which is for Chris, which is called... We've named it today. I've named it, actually.
Yeah.
So Chris is going to give us his stat or stats of the weekend in the Wonder of White section. So he's going to blow our minds with some football statting of the weekend, and then we've got the teaser answers. So I'll pick up the Championship review. So 2 games in. Sheffield Wednesday and Charlton are the early leaders, so both have got a maximum 6 points from their first 2 games. So Charlton obviously coming up from League One last year, so
the Sheffield Wednesday
start.
don't even have a manager, so
yeah, he's temporary. I think he must be temporary.
Yeah.
So Sheffield Wednesday, they beat another promoted side in a Yorkshire derby. They beat Barnsley 2-0. Charlton beat Stoke 2-1. Both games on Saturday, which is a decent result for Charlton. Leeds, QPR, West Brom and Derby, they make up the rest of the top 6. They're all on 4 points. And there's 3 teams at the bottom who are yet to register a point from their first 2 games, with Reading, Stoke and Blackburn currently occupying the relegation places. But this will obviously all change. The Championship, as ever, is going to be hard to predict. I personally fancy Cardiff and Fulham. I think they're pretty well equipped to try and mount a promotion challenge to go back up. And then I think you'll have the usual suspects like Leeds and Derby. So it'll be... I've actually started taking a closer look at Leeds since Spurs signed Jack Clark. So we'll see how they get on. In League One, we've got 3 teams at the top with a 100% record. Blackpool are top. If someone had said that 6 months ago, well, maybe even 3 or 4 months ago, I don't think we would have believed it. But fair play to Blackpool. They've completely turned it around. New owners, high on confidence. They're doing really well. Lincoln are second and Fleetwood are in third. There's 5 other teams who have yet to lose. So you've got Wickham, Rochdale, Ipswich, Oxford and Coventry. They're all on 4 points. Bit of a turnaround for Ipswich. I remember pretty much every week last year in the Championship review we were saying they lost.
Did you say they won?
No, I don't think we did. So yes, a good change in fortune for Ipswich fans. At the bottom, I think there's going to be a bit of a theme as we sort of go through this season and on the podcast, because we've obviously got Bury and Bolton at the bottom. I don't think it matters what football team you support. You never want to see clubs in the position that those two are in at the moment, especially with the money that's being thrown around sort of at the top level of English and sort of European football.
I know Bury, they've sorted it out, haven't they? They're allowed to play their next fixture.
I think they have, but I mean they haven't fulfilled either of the first 2 fixtures, but I think they've been postponed, so they haven't been abandoned or anything. I think they will be played. And Bolton at the weekend, I mean, their average age of the squad, their matchday squad was 19, which is pretty crazy, really.
You can't win anything with kids.
Well, exactly. So Bury are still on the automatic 12-point deduction, so they haven't moved. Bolton, after that point against Coventry at the weekend, are on -11. There's 5 other teams who are yet to pick up a point from the first 2 games. So, I mean, even that, Bolton, the 4 victories behind to start with, so it's going to be difficult. There's sort of, again, with the Championship, usual suspects for me in this one. So Pompey, Sunderland will be there or thereabouts, and I think Ipswich probably will be. And I like the look of Lincoln. I think what they've done in sort of cup runs over the last couple of seasons and getting promotion, I think they'll do pretty well this year. So, Chris, you want to take us through League 2 and then Yeovil Watch?
Yes. So League 2. So only two teams. So only 2 games played for obviously each team so far. And Plymouth, Swindon, and Exeter are the only teams who have won both their games in the league. And they're all pretty Southernly teams as well, which is good to see. Plymouth and Exeter both won 1-0 at the weekend, and Swindon beat Carlisle 3-2. Forest Green, Grimsby, and Walsall are the other 3 undefeated sides. They're all on 4 points. All 3 teams actually drew 1-1 at the weekend. Newly relegated Scunthorpe are bottom. They've lost both their games, and they suffered a heavy defeat to Cheltenham at the weekend by 4-1. And only the 2 other sides who've yet to register a point are Stevenage and Oldham. So yeah, so far, Plymouth. I fancy Plymouth in that league. They've just come down, so I think they'll be fine and they'll go up. Exeter have been in and about the promotion last couple of seasons, missed out last season. So yeah, and Yeovil Watch.
Yeah, I was just checking their score.
So
it's probably worth pointing just quickly. Not National League, but Celtic have been knocked out of the Champions League. So they've lost 4-3 tonight. Yes, they've lost 4-3 to Cluj at home.
Porto have got 2 back against Krasnodar, so
yeah, no, that was 1-1 first leg. But yes, as with Celtic, so Celtic have gone out 5-4 on aggregate, which is not great news for them. Sorry, Chris.
That's all right. Don't you put Yeovil Watch on the sideline, you?
No, how dare I?
So yeah, so far so good, I would say, for Yeovil so far. Obviously, massive changes in the summer. The ownership part of it's still not sorted out, although apparently it is coming. So, yep. So they've already played 3 games, but now they've played 4 games because they played this evening. They beat Ebbsfleet this evening by 3-1.
Yay!
So yes, but Ebbsfleet actually haven't won a game this season, so it's probably one of the easy games they're going to get.
You can only beat what's put in front of you.
Exactly.
Don't dole down the 3-1 victory.
So they started off the season against Barnet. That ended in a 1-0 defeat. And then a good win against Eastleigh last Tuesday, followed by a 1-1 home draw against Stockport at the weekend. Stockport scoring quite late in that one. They were 12th, but they've moved up into the playoffs now. So, yeah, going up.
Football League, here we come.
Yeah, but a long season ahead for all them.
But positive.
Yeah, a good start. I think.
I agree.
A lot were worried that they'd, slip up, and they have signed some good players for that league as well. So they're well equipped.
But dropping out the Football League's never an easy thing. So I think they've got off to a pretty positive start. But we will keep
And on Saturday they're playing Barrow, and they're on TV on BT Sport on Saturday. You wouldn't get that in League 2. So
you would not.
There you go. Look.
You would not. I'd encourage everybody to watch. But we'll be keeping a close eye on Yeovil. So every week we'll be giving an update, because they're kind of we've almost adopted them, I would say.
Well, I've lived here for.
There you go. Yeah, so I've been converted.
Richard's moving to Somerset.
Just before we go on to predictions, obviously it's the first round of the EFL Cup tonight, so I'm just going to give you some selected results. So Wimbledon MK Dons tonight. I didn't realise that, but MK Dons have just gone through on penalties. So they've beaten Blackpool on penalties. So they have a decent start to the season, Macclesfield. Coventry have gone through 4-1 against Exeter. Ipswich, who were just bigging them up, but they've fallen to a 3-1 defeat to Luton. Huddersfield are out. So Huddersfield are out after losing 1-0 at home to Lincoln, which I think is probably a bit of an upset. Plymouth, Chris, 2-0 winners over Leyton Orient. QPR have just beaten Bristol City on penalties. Leeds 3-0 winners over Salford. Bolton, they fell to a 5-2 defeat against Rochdale. Millwall 2-1 up against West Brom deep into stoppage time, so it looks like West Brom may be heading out. But I think Charlie Austin scored for them tonight. Derby have beaten Scunthorpe and Stoke have beaten Wigan. They're probably the sort of main matches. So we move on to predictions. So last year's winner Jamie was our first guest this week, almost like it's a bit like the Charity Shield, isn't it? He's sort of like
you paraded the trophy before the predictions.
Yeah, you win it, and then you sort of come back for the first go the next season. So we have slightly changed it, and I think it's worked out pretty well, really, because we got scores that we never had last week. So Chris won, so he got 19 points. I was second with 15, and Jamie was third with 11. Obviously, as the season goes on, mine and Chris's scores become averages, so doesn't really mean a lot at the moment. But Jamie did scoop the 5-point bonus from the golden goal match, which was good. So the first goal to be scored out of the 6 matches.
I don't think 11 is going to be enough to.
Well, you don't know.
Who have we got this week?
I don't think it will be.
Who's doing Lewis. It this week?
Lewis. But I did just if Lewis does beat Jamie, that would be the first time in like 30 odd rounds that someone's actually beaten him, because he was top
Jamie's
for so long last year.
He hasn't lost. He's come up against everyone.
Well, it serves him right, really, for saying West Ham Man City would be a draw.
Silly, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. So yeah, Lewis is up this week, so we'll be getting his predictions out on our social media channels in the next day or so. So that's the predictions challenge. I almost feel we need a drum roll for this bit, Chris. We need to get a jingle sorted for the Wonder of White. Hit us with your stats, Chris.
Hit you with some stats.
Not too many. Don't over-egg the feature on its debut.
So here are some stats that I've pulled out for this weekend. So Manchester United have never lost a Premier League match at Old Trafford in which they have led at half-time. That's a good one. That's nearly 300 games, that is, as well.
So whenever they've been leading at half-time at Old Trafford, they've never lost.
Never lost. No.
That's crazy. Good one. This is a good feature, Chris.
Javi Garcia is the first Watford manager in 7 seasons to end one season and still be in charge at the start of the next. I can't take credit for that one. That was you that gave me that.
That's just no. This is the Wonder of White. That's a mad stat.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But fair play to him.
Yeah. Jack Grealish's losing streak sits at 19 straight Premier League games. He's doing well.
Ouch. Yeah. Who does that remind you of? Gareth Bale. I think he went at least early 20s with Spurs, where he was not on the winning side in the Premier League. He turned out all right.
Don't start Grealish. That would be my. It's because he wears those silly socks.
Oh no, but yeah, he looks cool though. He looks cool.
Really?
Yeah, I think he looks like a dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to go to Spurs, but there you go. Never mind.
Last but not least, Raheem Sterling's hat-trick on Saturday was the first opening day hat-trick in the Premier League since 2011.
And
can you tell me who it was?
No, I was going to say, I got a feeling it was Shearer against Palace.
It was not Shearer.
Oh.
Didier Drogba.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
They are. I'm all statted out now.
Chris, that was some quality stats there.
Thank you.
And a feature I think we'll keep. So you better get researching for next week.
Don't worry, there'll be plenty more next week.
We are truly we're spoiling our listeners. Yeah. Right. Okay. So teaser answer.
I just literally I can't get Brazil out of my head, but ain't Brazil.
Well, I just my process of deduction, because I have been thinking about this while you've been talking. I have also been listening to you. Is I don't think you can rule out any of the other home nations. Because if I think of any player that's played in a national team for like Scotland, Ireland, Wales, or Northern Ireland over the last sort of 15 odd years, apart from the odd few, they've probably all been Premier League players.
But France is got to be a big one, because Arsenal have just kept in the 2000s. Arsenal
that's a
single-handedly brought in how many
Chelsea have as well. They've been quite heavy on French. Yeah. United, Barthez, Blanc.
It's difficult.
Okay, so right. So this year we are putting a timer on it. Otherwise, it would just be almost silence with Chris and I just thinking. So I'm going to narrow mine down to the home nations, Spain and France. So there's my 6. Are you adding any more to that, or are you happy with that? And then we're just going to have to take a punt from there, because I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I'm saying France.
You're saying France?
Yeah.
Okay. As your stats were so good, I'm going to let you pull rank on this one. I would have gone Scotland, but I will let you have France. Are you on the Google?
Yes. France was second.
France is second?
Yeah.
Who's first?
Espanyol.
Is it really?
So Spain, yes, because the question was outside of the UK.
Oh, yeah. That'll teach me for not listening.
Holland is third, Belgium 4th, and Republic of Ireland was 5th. So yeah, Brazil. There's been more players than in Argentina than Brazil. Senegal, they're up there.
Well, it's El Hadj Diouf. That's one. I don't know how many they've provided.
There's quite an extensive list here, but there's not any others that I would say I'm not shocked about. Congo.
Right, so I'm sorry, Chris. We're gonna have to. Where are you getting your information from? Because I'm seeing 1 as France.
Daily Mail.
2 as Scotland. Oh, we've got conflicting information here. The Irish Independent are reporting that it's France. We need to get on the phone to Pete.
How many has France said on yours then?
191. And it's put in Spain 5th with 105. So nearly half.
I reckon your source might be correct then.
Are you dissing the Daily Mail? Right, we need to move on. We need to take this off air. We're going to have to confirm. We're going to have to get it's Pete's teaser. Pete's answer is what we go with. Right. Okay. So that's it for next week. Hopefully Pete will ask us a question that is easy to Google to get the answer next week. Okay, so that's episode 1 of season 2 all wrapped up. So thanks for listening. If you want to know anything more about the podcast, you can go onto our social media channels. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram. Just a massive thanks to everyone who's supporting us, because we've actually kept a decent, if not increased, following over the summer, bearing in mind we haven't been doing any podcasts. So that's great. We're getting a lot of involvement from everyone out there. So please continue to listen, give us a like, feedback, subscribe on YouTube. Anything from you, Chris?
It's the podcast birthday next week.
It is.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to us.
I'm going to buy myself a big cake.
Maybe you'll win the Super Cup. That'd be a nice present.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah.
If we win the Super Cup, does that mean we are technically the best team in Europe? I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it that it means that. No,
yeah,
I'm happy with that.
I don't think you'll win. But anyway, Liverpool will be the best team in Europe.
Thanks
Right, okay, that's it from us this week.
See you later.
We'll speak to you next week. Bye-bye.